Hello again, everybody. It's time for another one of my tutorials. Today we're going to use a knot that's actually found on a Celtic cross in Ireland called a Clonmacnoise knot, and it's basically this first part. The way it's on the cross is it goes down, but we're going to use it to make a pattern out of it because I decided I wanted to show you guys how to do a pattern with one of these knots. I thought that would be an interesting sort of exercise to do. So to do this one, we are going to do a 4x4 grid to start with, and it'll be, this is a 4x4 grid here, and then we're going to add other 4x4 grids underneath and next to it to create a pattern. Okay, so let me just show you how I started so you understand 4x4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I drew this little one because I'm trying to save a little bit of time, where I'm going to walk you through drawing this grid in the next step, because we're going to have to repeat it anyway. But to save a little bit of time, I thought I'd do the first one. Just get the first one done so we can get into the drawing part of it. So what I did was, in that 4x4 grid, each corner has a dot, and then in the middle of each box will be a dot. And again, we'll go through that a little bit slower in the next step. But just to get us started on the first grid, after I did the 4x4 grid, I did a diagonal grid in between these lines. Okay, if you see, the diagonal grid does not touch those lines, it goes in between them. And then the opposite way as well. Okay, and the reason why we do it that way is because we're going to use these diagonal lines to draw our pattern. All right, these are the breaks that are used in this to create this knotwork pattern. Okay, they're the breaks that are used to create the pattern. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that when you hit a break, this is a break, these lines out here are a break. When you hit that break, that means you have to go off in another direction. You can't go past that break, okay? So this will make a little bit more sense as we go along. We're gonna pick a corner, and we're just going to trace the line. Now, when you do this, you're going to be erasing this line, okay? So when you do it light, with light pencil. Let me bring this down a little bit so it's in the frame. All right, you're going to do it light because you're going to erase it, but I have to do it a little bit darker so you can see it. All right, so we're going to trace, just sort of trace this diagonal line and go as far as this diagonal line can go. Oh, we can't go any further there. We got to turn. We can't go any further there. We got to turn, and we hit another break, and we got to turn. We hit another break. We got to turn. This is the edge, so we have to turn. And we're just going to follow this. Now, for this part right here, you could turn and then turn again, but we're just going to skip that and just go straight across, because that's how this design is done. So we're just going to turn it. All right, we're going to follow this line. We're going to do the same thing on each side. We're just, when we get to this break, instead of going this way and then this way, we're just going to go straight across. All right, we're going to follow the line, go straight across, follow the line. We hit a break, we can't go anywhere. We hit another break, we got to turn. We hit the edge, we got to turn, another edge we got to turn. See, this is all you're doing at this stage in the game. If you lay your grid and your breaks out right, this part will be a breeze. All right, this hits this break, we have to turn. It hits this break, we have to turn. It hits this break, we have to turn. It hits that break, turn, and now we made up where we started. Okay? So if you look closely, you will see this pattern showing up here. Okay? Now, we're going to do this again underneath. So I want to do 4 grids down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? Because each box, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 across. All right. Now, just so that we can see it a little bit better, we're going to use a ruler and just kind of put our edges in a little bit so we can see our grid a little bit better. And again, do this very lightly, because most of the time you're going to be erasing. And one more edge. All right, now that we got our 4x4, the edges of our 4x4 grid in there, we're going to do the diagonal lines. And basically when you do the diagonal lines, you're going, using grid paper for this is an amazing way to keep yourself straight, because it helps you line things up. It is especially useful if you are doing small details, because I have personal experience with screwing up grids and spending hours trying to figure out where I went wrong in my grids because I was being sloppy, I cut corners, or I wasn't paying attention to close enough to how I was laying things out, and it caused me so many headaches and so many hours of trying to fix things. So you're essentially just going, meeting up the space between the dots in the middle. You're not touching any of these dots. None of these diagonal lines should go through a dot. They should go diagonally between them. And again, if you use grid paper, that should be a fairly easy process. It's not hard, but you do have to pay attention to what you're doing. Because this, if you screw up here, it will create problems down the road. Where am I? Almost screwed that one up, didn't I? Okay. Sometimes your eyes play tricks on you, so you gotta, like, you know, talk yourself through it. Focus. Stay focused when you do these. Okay, So we got our grid, we got our diagonals in there. The only thing that's left is to put in the breaks. Now we're going to flip this for this particular design. So we're going to take what we have here, which goes up to here, right? What we have here, we're going to flip it so that it's sort of mirrored, it's upside down. So we're going to do the same breaks, but we're going to do them upside down. And hopefully I get this right. Okay, that should be right. Double check my, yep, okay. Now, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start in a corner. And every time we hit a break, we're going to turn. Again, when we get to this side of it, we're just going to go straight. It's one of those rules that you can break. This side, go straight. All right, and we're going to follow it up to this loop. That hits a break, turn, hit the edge, turn, edge, turn. It hits the edge, turn, hits the edge, turn. It's a break, turn, it's a break, turn, it's a break, turn, it's a break, turn. This is like a meditation, right? All right, now we're back where we started from. We're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to take this same pattern and do it here. We're going to take this same pattern and we're going to do it here. Okay? So, and one more. Put the dots in the center of the box. All right, we'll draw our grid. What'd I do? Yep. This is why you pay attention. This is why you pay attention to what you're doing. Don't go so fast, right? But that's good. I'm screwing up one, and I'm showing you how easy it is when you're not paying attention. When you're not totally focused, you can very easily screw up. So when you're trying to go too fast. So I'm going fast because I don't want these videos to be too long. Plus my phone can't handle long videos anymore. So when you do this, you're obviously going to take your time, especially if you're new to it. You're going to take your time. All right, let's start here. All right, we'll line up, we'll go through the center, go between these lines. And I'm essentially lining up in between the dots in the center of this box. And we go diagonal. this way. There are other ways to do this. I could have drawn out all these grids all at once. But just to show you how I'm doing it, just to kind of teach you a little bit, I figured this might be the simplest way to show you. All right, let me go the opposite way. Now, this isn't hard so far, just you have to know where the breaks are supposed to be, and I didn't make that up. That was just, I had to look into it and see where those breaks were in order to show you how to draw this. But once I've found out where the breaks should be, everything else is basically just doing all this tedious stuff. Now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to start in a corner. You're ignoring this for now. And you're just pretending that this is its own thing. We will link them up. Whoops. Now here I am not putting the breaks in. That could be a problem, right? All right. That's the center. And that's the center. Okay? And we're just following it. And it sort of creates these pretzel shapes down here at the bottom. And we're just repeating what we did with the first two. And we're just following the line until we hit a break or hit an edge and we turn. Turn, 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 and we're back where we started. Okay, now we do the third one. The third 4x4 grid. Start going too fast and then you start like, what did I do? Where am I going? Because your eyes mess with you. Okay. I was going to do some of this off camera, but I realized you may actually want to see the process. I mean, it doesn't take long, as you can see, but, all right, so I got my last 4x4 grid in here. And grids are a complicated thing too. You can do very, very complicated things and break down grids into smaller grids. You can take your 4x4 grid and make it part of a larger grid system like we're doing right now, basically doubling the size of it or quadrupling the size of it. And grid paper is pretty much essential for that, because either grid paper or drawing your own grid, but either way you need a grid. This isn't really something you can do freehand. The ancient artists that did work in the ancient Christian Book of the Kells and things like that, the Celtic artists and priests who did that work, they for sure had to have been using grids to do that. And there's some very intricate work there. All right. Now, before we go any further, we have to put in our brakes. I almost did the same thing again. I get excited. I'm like, oh, I can draw lines. Yeah, I need to slow down. All right. So we have a break here. We're taking what's here and we're mirroring it. If you remember, it's upside down, like that one. Okay. So we're essentially just copying that. All right. Now we can start drawing our lines. You reach this part, we're going to turn. Reach. Wow. I need to slow down. This part we're going to turn. This part, and we turn, 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 turn. Get these pretzel shapes. All right, down to this corner and turn, up to this and turn, up to this and turn, that and turn. And we are back where we started. Okay, so this looks like a jumbled mess of lines, right? But this is essentially how you create this. All right, the one thing we haven't done yet is we haven't done this in the middle yet, and we're going to do that right now. So in the middle, these lines have to all kind of meet. So this space here, we're just going to kind of erase that, and we're just going to make all these lines meet. Okay. All right, so now we are ready. We are ready to start tracing. I'm going to use a darker pencil to do this one. We are ready to start going around it with our pencil. Okay. And where the lines meet, I'm just going to kind of leave a small gap, I think. Just because it's going to be so much easier later to do overs and unders. And I'm essentially just following this. Just trying to see where they have their... Okay, yeah, they do have it a little bit stylized. And I am just following all the lines I just drew. And where I meet an intersection of the lines, I'm just trying to leave a little bit of a gap so that I can do the overs and unders, because there's an awful lot of lines. And that would be an awful lot of erasing, and it would just be a big pain in the butt, so. But you can see see where it's going, right? I probably should have sharpened this pencil before I started. This was a fun one. It looked like it was a complicated thing, and it does look complicated, but it's not complicated. It just has several steps, right? And just like anything else, you break it down into its smaller steps, and it's not so complicated. Maybe time-consuming, but not hard to do. Okay. So you just have to pay attention to what you're doing is all. All right. So you see, if you see down here, this is almost on. And you can see where this came from, right? You'd see that once we get all these lines in, it will look like this. So leave me a comment drop me a line in the comment section. Let me know if you've done anything like this before. If you have any other techniques that you'd like to share, I would love to see that, because I'm always interested in learning new things, new techniques. This has become one of my biggest interests, is learning how to draw these things. And again, like I say in a lot of my other videos, there's different ways, different techniques to do things. When I do this, I always try and figure out, all right, if I had to break this down step by step and show somebody, what's the easiest way that I would be able to digest it? And that's kind of how I go about trying to break down some of this stuff. Now you see this is starting to get fleshed out, right? Just like this one. All right, and where did I stop? I guess it doesn't matter. Right now it doesn't matter because I'm not doing my overs and unders yet. Once we get to overs and unders, though, it's going to be very important that once you pick a point to start, you go with it. You don't move anywhere else. I may speed this up when I go to edit the video, just so you don't have to sit here and like watch this boring stuff going on. But this is kind of you're just doing the same thing over and over. Until you get the pattern done. This, I don't know about anybody else, but this is the part where I start to really get excited about the design, because now you can see it developing right in front of you. And again, this part of it anyway, the first section of it, appears on a cross. It's I forget where exactly in Ireland it is, but it's a Clonmacnoise Cross. It's on one of the side panels, and it goes down the side of that, the cross on the side of it. I believe it's on other crosses as well, but so it's not exclusive to that particular cross. But and again, I have a blog that I've kind of put that information into, so if you're interested in a little bit more detail, you can go to my blog and you can read it in my blog. I believe I have a link in my blog to the actual cross that it's on. We are almost done with, and there we go. All right, so essentially this is this. The only thing we have to do, and I'll, for the sake of the length of the video, I'll probably only do a portion of this, just to kind of show you how we arrive at the finished piece. So we're going to pick a spot, and we're going to decide, is this thread here going to go over or under? I'm going to put it over. And this is why I left gaps, because it's going to be so much easier rather than try and erase everything. All right, so we're following this thread. We're going to stay with this thread. Do not jump around, or you will screw it up. This thread went over something, now it's got to go under something. It went under something, it's got to go over something. It went over, now it's got to go under. It went under, it's got to go over. It went over, under. It went under, it's going to go over. Nope, see? See how easy it is to screw up when you're going quick? And I even said it to myself, it's got to go over. And what did I do? The opposite. So let's check ourselves. It went under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Follow this around. Now it goes over. And it should go under this one, and it does. Now we're going to follow this thread. This thread went under. It's going to go over, under, over, under, over, under. Follow this. Over, and it's under, so that's good. All right, so it looks like we got one. Let's see, we're going to go under, over, 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 under, follow this around, over, under, it's going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, following around, it goes over, under, over, gonna go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, following around, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I'm just kind of looking at this. I think we got them all. Did we get them all? No, we didn't. All right. We got, let's see, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. All right, so we got all this. I'm just following this around. Let's see. And just kind of following this to see where it all goes. Okay, so we still have this panel here that needs to be done and this panel here. So these two panels are done. So we're going to start in the middle here where we already have our overs and unders. So we're going to start this spot right here. It went under, so it's going to go over. Then it's going to go under, over, under, over, under. This line's going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, let's see what we got here. This went under, so it's going to go over, and then it's going to go under. Right, and then it's going to go over, under. All right, so we got that panel done. And now we just got this one here. We're going to start in the middle where it's already been established, where the overs and unders have already been established. So this thread went over. It's going to go under. All right, and then it's going to go, oh, I am getting myself so confused right now. All right, now it's going to go over, and then it's going to go under, back where we started with this one, so it went over, now it's going to go under, over, and then it's going to go under, and then it's going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. So yes, when you do this, you just keep on saying to yourself, under, over. And check yourself, because sometimes you say it and you do the opposite, like I almost just did again. It's just, that's why it's important to like just focus. Don't let your mind wander, focus on what you're doing. It's like a meditation. All right, and that is over. And I think we got that whole panel. So you can see now where this came from. So I'm not going to do any more with this because you can do the rest yourself with the shading and things like that. But this, if I cleaned it up, erased all the lines, and I stylized it and all that, you can do all kinds of stuff with that. You can put a border around it. All kinds of stuff. That would be pretty cool with like a border around it. And you can even take this and you can add more panels to the top, the bottom, the sides. And you just do the same thing. You just repeat the patterns. Okay, so just wanted to kind of point out a little bit of something about the grids. You started with a 4x4 grid, and that 4x4 grid became, what is this, 8x8 grid to make this. And this will create two or three patterns in here if you take a look at it, because doing the knot work is all about patterns. And you see you have another pattern, a secondary pattern here in the middle that it created when we joined them. Then you have these patterns here, these pretzels, and it all becomes part of this one bigger pattern. So hopefully that's something that was interesting to you. Hopefully you understood, you were able to follow along. If you have any comments, any questions, put them down in the comments. If you have any tips on how to draw stuff like this, any useful resources, please feel free to put that down in the comments. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you please like, subscribe, share. It will help me be able to put out more of these videos. In the end, I don't know where this is all going, but I'm just gonna keep putting out little tutorials like this, and as I go, I'll add more and more, and we'll see what happens. I think the next one that I'm going to do is going to be a Triskel. That's the next one. It's on tap, so stay tuned for that. Okay? All right, I hope everybody has a great day, great week, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.